Apparently, scientists have discovered a new species of dinosaur that is as intelligent as moi. They've called it a thesaurus. Get it? Okay, hi guys, and welcome to the show. Today, a typical Urban Gentry episode because, well, you'll see why. I'm discussing the Rolex Explorer. No wristwatch check needed today. I'm going to be sharing why I've fallen back in love with it. It's not how you would expect. A double unboxing. Not only the best Swiss-made diver under $1,000. In fact, actually, I paid $800, an absolute bargain. It's a Squale. It's a Squale. But also the latest generation of the F77 by Nivada Grenchen. I'm going to compare it to my own. Is it time to upgrade? Yeah, so a typical Urban Gentry episode. What can I say? Porca miseria. Anyway, let's roll the intro. I'm going to preface this by addressing the big Damien Hirst style shark in the room. Yes, it's pronounced Squale, the French for shark.
Squale, Squale.
The brand's founder and dive watch pioneer, Charles von Buren, was Swiss after all. But being mostly a Swiss-Italian brand today, along with myself being so inclined, mi chiamo Tristano Veneto per esempio, Squalo is shark in Italian, so I read it as Squale. In fact, almost all Italian watch channels do, so it just stuck. Not to be overly pedantic, but the same way Italians say Cartier basculante, not basculant. For the Latin polyglots, you will get it. For everyone else, you're just gonna have to deal with it. Right, knickers untwisted, let's continue. My love affair with Squale started with the 1521 a decade ago. That utterly mesmeric azzurro being so indicative of all the childhood summers I spent at the seaside town of Gaeta. A true Proustian focaccia moment, if you will. Yes, I know, a rather pretentious literary subversion, but horologically it opened my eyes to independent, heritage-rich, Swiss-made brands that were not the overly predictable go-to rivers and waterfalls I was used to, like Seamasters and Submariners, for example.
Bisogna usare molta prudenza. Regoliamo I nostri cronometri.
In fact, most of the real-world testing that von Buren undertook was in the very same Tyrrhenian med waters that my ancestors emerged from. So I've been obsessed with the idea of a PVD Panerai. There's something so macho about it in that finish. I looked into it and it cost around almost $1,000 to have mine custom PVD coated, but it's like the wonderful Gaspar Noé classic, it's irreversible. Once it's done, you know, and then of course it wears off. It is a very sentimentally important watch. It's the watch I wore when I went back to Firenze with my wife, where I studied and lived and met my wife. So it's a very, very important watch. And at the same time, I've also been looking for the Azzurro 1521, as you guys know. Did put a bid on a used Cosc one, but I missed out. And then this came along and I thought, you know what? Kill two birds with one stone, so to speak. I should also do a knife check. The Lion Steel is back. Shout out to my friend Epic Snuggle Bunny there. Just adore this knife, made in the same region of Italy that I grew up in, Castello di Cordovado. Let's make the first incision and get into it. There it is. Oh, it does have a tag. Okay, so it's a newer version because we haven't got the signed side of the case. PVD. Yeah, I've missed it. I've actually owned this before. Let's give it a bit of a Seiko shuffle. Yeah, it's going good. Thank God for that. And I think this is the original strap, been in the water a few times, but good condition, good used condition. Now here is the moment of truth. The bezel. Any playback? Oh, thank God for that. It turns. It turns nicely. Yeah, there we go. Little bit of wear there, but I got the PVD. I just love the matte PVD. Let's unscrew the crown, and it's hackable, of course. Let's check that date change is nice and solid. Yep, there we go. Yeah, I'm pretty chuffed with that. So let's give it 24 hours. Might even open it up, check out the movement, make sure it's all kosher, but looks good so far. Now, I've been really getting a feel for blacked out watches. The MRW, the Casio, kind of started a bit of a mini trend within my own watch wearing habits. Considerably thinner than the T183. While it was certainly innovative, Squale did a world first of making the first forged carbon watch 600 meter capable diver. With my lung condition, I'm never going to go diving that deep. I'm going to use it for swimming and jogging. It's performing wonderfully well, almost within COSC tolerances after a few days of wear. So I'm very relieved about that. But the strap was just hideous. I've replaced it. This is a tropic strap. Actually, it's the same strap I've been enjoying on my aerospace. This is an olive color, and I got these from Holben's. Oh, gorgeous vanilla scent, wonderfully supple, but yet very robust, vulcanized, made in Italy. Quite expensive, but they're just a pleasure to wear, perforated, the classic tropic. Thought I'd pop it on this, and it absolutely works. I've swapped out the buckle for the Squale one, and could not be happier. Originally introduced in the mid-1970s, the 1521 is an extremely high-performing 500-meter capable professional diver, as the 50 Atmos name suggests. But it was also simultaneously designed to wear smaller in order to keep up with the commercial demands of the time. It was von Buren's genius to create a highly ergonomically effective solution that also wore modestly, thanks to the aggressively sloped lugs, but still retained the overall larger diameter on top for legibility and function. He also added a tucked-away 4 o'clock crown to increase ambidextrous comfort, and the angled surfaces for enhanced tactile efficiency. The neon orange cherry on top of the cake was the brand's signature highly contrasting minute hand. Perfect example of yet another von Buren innovation we take very much for granted. It became arguably their most iconic watch, so much so that not soon after its introduction, Blancpain contracted Squale yet again to produce this case as the basis of the 50 fathoms 3H Bund divers, which of course are highly desired and were issued to the German Bundeswehr Kampfschwimmers. Squale themselves would later return to producing watches for elite combat divers, but independently, being officially issued to the Marina Militare and more recently the legendary Consubin divers, amongst many others. And speaking of martial timekeeping, you may have noticed a touch of the 007 Heuer 1000, minus the luminous dial. Which incidentally, they also did produce a version of the 1521 like that.
5 minutes later.
Control 007 here. I'll report in an hour.
Won't you join me?
Better make that 2.
After being reacquainted with the newer Rolex Submariner in a recent review, I can't deny it triggered, pun partially intended, a powerful lust, not for salmon, but a more Bondian tactical interpretation of the 1521 over the look at me, I'm so pretty, let's sip Negroni spritzers in Positano vibes of the Azzurro. But this deeply historic design and rich dichotomy of versions collectively proves that after all these years, in 2025, it's still the best Swiss-made automatic diver under $1,000 from a heritage brand. I'm just going to interrupt here. Please do like this video. It only takes a second. It really does help. It's completely free. I don't ask for anything. It's the best way to support free independent channels like this. And comment as well. I love hearing your feedback. Now this was shipped from Hong Kong, I think. Confuses a lot of people because it's a Swiss brand, but I believe their packaging is done in Hong Kong, so hence why, or something like that, something to do with the distribution. Yeah, it is still Swiss made. Oh, and then the inner box. I remember unboxing mine actually. Right, I've brought in my own F77. This is the titanium no date with the meteorite dial. So I'm going to compare it, see if it's time to upgrade. It's the same movement, same insides, all the rest of it. Drum roll, please. Oh, look at that. Look at that. So I believe this is a 18 karat gold plating. You see how on this case it's just like really straight. This is much more aggressively downward pointing, way more substantial in weight, of course, because it's not titanium. And then we have this onyx dial with dolphin hands, not the pencil before. I love these hands. That's a bit of a shame, but this case construction, look at that, aggressive angles, far more aggressive. It's gonna be interesting to see when it is sized, how differently this wears. Wait, there's an adjustable. Oh, look at that. Yes. It's like an easy link on the clasp. Oh. Gen 1 didn't have that. Oh, that is just pure class. Look at that. Press it down and instantly adjustable, no tools required. So I'm just doing my jog, could not be happier. And of course this. The tucked in crown is excellent for doing press ups. I can't stand gyms, I don't do weights, none of that, but press ups, I will do press ups. And you know, with the tucked in crown, it's great, look at that. And also it works on both wrists, left and right. A true capo lavoro, this case design. And of course the blacked out look. Far more low-key than the Azzurro, flies under the radar. So positives and negatives of the new generation of F77. Definitely fits way better. The way they've done the new lugs, points downwards, certainly wears smaller. I love the adjustment on the clasp, screwed individual links, absolutely fantastic. You know, obviously deeply Genta inspired. As a former owner of a Royal Oak, I can say that it certainly wears differently. Obviously, if you've never owned a AP Royal Oak, or you just judge it from afar, from the porthole look, that signature Genta style, you're just going to dismiss it. But I actually think this is probably the best alternative to a clomage, as they say, or a homage, or a PRX, or something that predictable. However, there are as many downsides or negatives, I think, to this new generation as there are advantages. First of all, they've got rid of the loom on the hands, so less functionality in a sports capacity. Those dolphin hands, the most quintessentially 1950s style hands in a 1970s style watch, just doesn't work in my opinion. It's a bit like wearing John Lobb's Oxford brogues with a Adidas tracksuit, you know. The exterior is all sporty, modern, brutalist, if you will, and then you got these classic Cadillac style dolphin hands of the 1950s. It just doesn't work, not as cohesive, shall we say. Maybe they need to hire a new designer, I don't know. Call me, I'm available, call me. No, I'm just kidding, but maybe it's just my personal opinion. What do you guys think? The gold plating will certainly be a Marmite for some. In certain lights it does look a bit cheap. In daylight, funnily enough, in normal light outside, it looks absolutely fine. It's quite strange, but of course there's always just the standard steel one, so not really a big negative. The onyx style, I have to say, I much prefer meteorite. I love the way meteorite, each dial is completely unique and different. I love onyx, I love gemstones, but Just looks like any other glossy dial, to be honest. Maybe, I don't know, lapis lazuli with the titanium case, that obviously would be cool. It really is the Goldilocks thing, you know. One too hot, too cold, somewhere in the middle would be best, right? The Rolex Explorer coined the term strap monster a decade ago, when YouTube watch channels wasn't even a thing. Well, yet, of course. Its tool-tastic functional purity and distinctly British sense of flex-free, understated luxury elegance results in a slow-release charm. Something you rarely need time to discover and only comes from long-term ownership. Funny to think, I had always previously dismissed it as kind of boring. Keep in mind, I was mainly a Rolex Submariner, Seiko SKX, Breitling Navitimer, and obviously Squale 1521 type of a chap. All far more outwardly sexier and more obviously adventurous watches over the three-hander only and 369 numeral minimalism of the Explorer. But its supremely orientation-effective dial layout became the inspiration of not only many subsequent purchases, but the majority of watches I have designed or co-designed and continues to do so. Incidentally, these same inescapably bewitching qualities were also part of its undoing. In hindsight, looking back, I now realize that the watches it inspired became, as a result, even more profoundly meaningful to me, thus relegating the Explorer as more of an early step in the ever-evolving journey of self-discovery, something that all watch enthusiasts experience as we learn what true love is over just passing dalliances. And I'm still talking about watches, by the way. It just needed rekindling. All it took was a simple strap change. This Fluco, completely hand-woven, and for the price, it's quite impressive. Made in Germany, even the hardware is made in Germany. I love Fluco. I've been a big fan of their suede straps. I don't know, the olive green, it's not too glossy. I've always kind of despised higher-end NATO straps. To me, they should be utilitarian. They should be true military mil-spec capacity, right? But this, a little bit more luxurious, a little bit, obviously, much higher quality, I've never had a NATO-style strap like this that fits so well. It's so comfortable, waterproof. I've actually jogged with this, I've sweated and showered with it, and that versatility, yeah, I've just reconnected with this watch. It's crazy. I potentially saved a lot of seller's remorse. I mean, this watch has been with me so long now. I'm happy this happened. I really am happy this happened. I'm even going to engrave the back, which I'll share in a future episode, to make it unlike any other, to make it truly mine, and I intend to keep it forever. I made that decision. Has this ever happened to you? I'm in a very happy place, if you haven't guessed. I'm in this kind of nirvana state. I adore my collection. I adore all my watches that I have now. Couldn't be happier. I'll catch you in the next one. Onwards and upwards. Thank you for watching. Ciao. Mwah. Mwah. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
Prime Minister, Mr. Churchill, said, "What General Weygand called the Battle of France is over. The Battle of Britain is about to begin."